A 28-year-old trucker had spent most of his life behind the wheel, navigating America's endless highways. He loved the solitude and freedom his job provided, but one cold November night, as he made his way through the winding roads of the Rockies, that solitude turned into a nightmare. Arthur had taken an extra job to pay for his mother's medical bills. He knew the road through these mountains was treacherous, especially after dark, but he couldn't say no to the extra cash. As his rig crawled up the steep incline, snow began to fall, blanketing the road in white. The CB radio crackled with static, and the other truckers were eerily silent. His GPS flickered, losing its signal. The only sounds were the hum of the engine and the occasional groan of his rig as it labored up the slope. He was alone, or so he thought. About halfway up, Arthur noticed a figure on the side of the road. A boy, no older than 10, stood there wearing a tattered coat, his face pale and frightened. Arthur's heart sank. What was a child doing here in the middle of nowhere? Against his better judgment, he pulled over. The boy approached the cab and looked up at him with wide, tear-filled eyes. "Mister, please help me. My family, they're trapped up the road." Arthur hesitated. Something about the boy felt off. His eyes were hollow and his voice carried an unnatural echo. But guilt got the better of him. He motioned for the boy to climb in. "Where's your family, kid?" Arthur asked, trying to mask the unease in his voice. The boy pointed up the mountain. "Just keep driving, I'll tell you where to stop." The rig groaned as Arthur pressed on, the snowstorm intensifying. Intense. Visibility was almost non-existent. The boy sat silently, staring straight ahead. Arthur tried to make conversation, but the child's answers were curt and strange. "They're waiting for you," the boy said at one point, his voice almost a whisper. A sudden curve appeared out of nowhere. Arthur slammed the brakes, narrowly avoiding skidding off the edge. As he regained control, he noticed something in his peripheral vision. A cluster of old, wrecked cars buried in the snow below the cliffside. Chills ran down his spine. "Is that—" Arthur began, but the boy interrupted him. "We're here." Arthur pulled the rig to a stop. The boy jumped out and ran into the darkness. Arthur called after him, but the wind swallowed his words. Against his better judgment, he grabbed a flashlight and followed. The beam of his flashlight cut through the snow, revealing a decrepit cabin barely standing against the storm. The boy stood in front of it, motionless. "They're inside," he said. Arthur hesitated. The air felt heavy, like it was pressing down on his chest. He pushed open the door and stepped inside. The smell of decay hit him like a wall. The cabin was empty except for old furniture and broken glass. Then he saw them. Photos scattered on the floor showing a family, a man, a woman, and a boy. The boy in the pictures was the same child who'd led him here, but the photos were decades old, their edges yellowed with time. "What the hat?" Arthur muttered, backing away. A whisper filled the room. "You came back." Arthur spun around, but no one was there. The boy appeared in the doorway, his eyes now dark voids. "We've been waiting for you," he said, in a voice that wasn't his own. Arthur stumbled back, his flashlight flickering. Shadows moved in the corners of the room, coalescing into figures. The family from the photos. Their faces were twisted, their eyes accusing. "You took us from the road!" the woman hissed. Arthur's breath hitched, memories flooded back. An accident he had caused years ago during his first winter haul. He'd lost control of his truck on the icy mountain road and collided with a car. He'd fled the scene, terrified of losing his job. "You left us to die," the man growled. Arthur fell to his knees, tears streaming down his face. I didn't mean to. I was scared. I'm so sorry." The boy stepped closer, his face softening. "We've waited for you to remember. Now you can join us." The shadows surged toward him. Arthur screamed, but the sound was swallowed by the storm. The next morning, rescue workers found Arthur's truck abandoned on the mountain road. No trace of him was ever found, but locals say that on snowy nights, a ghostly rig can be seen driving the same route, its headlights cutting through the storm, searching for redemption that will never come.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe my channel for more videos.